Live?
Live right now.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live?
You're doing it live.
Hear me?
They know we're doing it live.
Yeah. I think for the subsequent Facebook videos here, we need to switch out the coffee mugs for like German Steins.
Yeah.
Like massive.
That's a good idea.
We can advertise our favorite sports teams and stuff like that.
We can sell ad space on cups to local businesses.
Stephen Colbert had like the chalice, and his guest had like the crappy glass.
The Dixie cup.
Yeah, I think we could do that. I think we could do it like, we have like a tournament before. Some type of competition.
Okay.
Where one person gets the awesome cup, and the other one's drinking out like the baby, like
sippy cup.
Sippy cup.
And you have the top to like protect you from silver.
Yes, I like it. I like it a lot. I like that. Until then, drink beer from coffee mugs.
It's a good tradition. I like it.
Yeah.
Are we still live?
Yeah, you guys been live.
Oh, nice.
Alright, perfect.
The viewers at home need to know about the competition over the beer mug collection.
And also that we're advertising local businesses.
Yeah, we're giving back. We're giving back
to the community.
This isn't about
We're going to charge them.
Yeah.
But we're giving back.
Make sure you send in your $2.99 fee if you're watching this video to supply the...
like PBS, we're raising money for something.
Right.
So we're just going to do this way because the other way wasn't working correctly.
Right.
But that's fine. Alright guys, so starting live.
Episode 2.
Episode 2, yes.
Grab a beer with GraySquare. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers to everyone watching. Okay guys, so last video, we talked a little bit about the company. Now, the viewers want to know a little bit about yourself. What can you tell me guys about yourselves?
Nice.
I'm starting, right?
Yeah, have at it.
Tim Koontz.
They don't know what you do either, because you were on the last one.
I just listened to Catalina, who's running the video. Now, I'm the owner of the company. I've been in the industry now since 2006, which is basically my entire adult life at this point. Backstory about me and how I got started in business and why I've stuck with it, I guess, Catalina, would be personally, I came from a middle class working family where I saw my folks working every day, the 40-hour work week, 9 to 5 type of thing. I was told to, as a kid, to go to college, get out of college, get a job, the whole 9 yards. So I saw that middle class background. And I think I just kind of wanted a little bit more than that. So when I went to college, I was also an athlete in college. Played soccer, big soccer fan still. I always liked, competition a lot. I liked sports a lot because of the competitive aspect of it. And I think that's what I like about the business world as well at this point. I think the competition now drives me more so than the money that I could, hypothetically earn from it. So that's kind of how my athletic background played into me getting into the business. I have my degree in European history for whatever stupid reason.
Sure.
Whatever stupid reason. I started out knowing a lot more about German history than I knew about business. That's right. Good Germany in the World Cup. We're taking it home two times in a row.
Yeah.
So I graduated college, still thinking, go get a good job type of deal. And then I also had, my grandfather is an entrepreneur, and he always kind of told me stories and stuff when I was a kid about, you can do better than just working a Joe Schmo job. And I think that really stuck in my head as well. When I was introduced to the business through an interview, I guess in 2006, I saw it as kind of an opportunity to extend my sports career because I liked the competitiveness of the business. I liked the fact that in the marketing sales space, pretty much everyone is same color, same height, same background, whatever. If you're the best at it, you're making the most money and have the most opportunity. I saw that as a good thing for me coming from a middle class background. I didn't have to know the right people. So that's kind of how I got started in it. I started in the business just for that reason because it was competitive. I made less money. Like when I started here, I was making less money than I could have made somewhere else.
Sure.
But I thought the future was brighter in this industry than it was in corporate America, so to say.
I think that's an interesting thing about it, man. It's like if you, I think I heard Gary Vee say this, like if you're good at what you do and you put out a good product, the market will accept you, like regardless of where you're from, what you look like, what you got going on. If you do the right things, the market will accept you.
I think you can find an example of that in almost any business. Like I think if you look at the most powerful people in the world, politically, athletically, business-wise, not all of them are from like one set cookie-cutter background.
Sure.
I think they'll have defining characteristics, work ethic-wise, commitment-wise, attitude-wise. But it's not like everyone is this particular demographic. It's kind of like the strong survive, the work ethics dictate, where you're going in the future. But I got kind of hooked on the business and stayed with it initially. The things I kind of liked about the business, or that I liked at the beginning, that got me in longer than a 6-month job type of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously the money, there is money in it. I think I do better now at 33 years old than I would have done with a lot of other things financially.
Something more traditional.
Yeah, I think I'm very fortunate financially, and I think the business has a big role to play in that. And I don't think I'd be there if I worked at Bank of America, for instance.
Sure.
I think I'd be in the middle something after 10 years in the business. So definitely the money, definitely the opportunity. Like I said, the thing that I like about the business, and I liked about the business, was that my hard work was rewarded. So if I was doing the right things, I was moving up the ladder, and I was growing, I was making more money, getting more free time, and this, that, and the other thing.
Faster.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the flip side is true as well, too. If you're not willing to put it in, you're not going to get anything out. Whereas that doesn't play as true in corporate America. I like that personally because I don't have to worry about it. If I'm going to work harder than the next guy, I'm going to get more out of it than the next guy. So I like the opportunity because, where I'm at today, next year I can be double that. And the following year I can be double again, and double and double and double. There's not really much of a cap other than my own commitment, work ethic, intelligence, whatever. I can always keep improving, and the business keeps growing. Nowadays, that I do have some money and some stability, and I have taken advantage of a lot of opportunities. The thing I like now about the business, and this sounds sort of corny, but I think
The
I get to
view
give
side
it.
of it's corny.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah Larson's already blowing us up, said it's corny. But
She's gonna hate you for that.
I think I get to give back now. I get to reverse it. Like at 21 years old, starting out in the business after college, I learned everything I know now from somebody else for the most part.
Yeah.
Probably 10% of it was books and external education. Most of it was, somebody giving me free knowledge that they had learned. And nowadays I get to give it back. It's cool for me knowing that I started with literally nothing. I started as a broke kid out of college, not a dime to my name, and I'm not in that situation anymore.
Yeah.
I like seeing somebody else do the same thing. I like seeing, Steve, who's upstairs, that started in the business the same way I did, and now he's no longer that. He's no longer entry level financially or opportunity-wise or responsibility-wise. So I like that about the business now. That's more addicting to me now. The competition and the helping others thing is more so my addiction nowadays that keeps me going in the business. There's nothing more rewarding than that feeling. There's no amount of money that makes you feel better than watching somebody go from nothing to something.
Sure.
Knowing that you at least
have a
had
small part of it.
some part of it.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
part. Even if it was 1%, you were definitely there impacting. You know how it is, like every so often you get an email from somebody from the past.
Oh yeah,
or a
from
phone
5
call
years
saying,
ago. Like I use all the stuff you taught me.
Yeah, thanks so much
thing.
for what you did 10 years ago.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That, if somebody were to say, okay, I'll send you this email or I'll give you $10,000,
Yeah.
I'd pick the email every single time.
Sure.
So you just get so much
You get more out of it.
satisfaction.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's kind of me. In regards to the business itself, the industry, so to say, what I like about the industry is, I say this a lot to the guys, but I think the business satisfies the most basic need.
For
Like we get companies more customers. Like at the end of the day, that's our business. Like we help company A get customer B.
The economy's down, they want more customers. The economy's up, they want more customers.
You know, it is what it, and I think that's huge because to me now, you know, as I'm you know, trying to become more of a family man, take care of my existing family, build my own family. Yeah, I'm not the young kid in the business anymore. I worry about, you know, where I'm going to be in 20 years, and I don't worry about it that much in the business. You know, I worry more about, you know, because I think like 10 years from now, I don't think the business will look like what it looks like nowadays. You know, today, you know, like 10 years ago, the business looked a lot different, but it still did the basic
same fundamental thing.
You know, like if tomorrow all of the client roster that we have now disappears, I think that I could walk around just our neighborhood, our business neighborhood here, and just be like, hey, do you want more customers? And every single business
we're gonna get a lot of yeses.
Yes. Yeah. They're like, yeah, I want more customers. Okay, I can do that for you, and I won't charge you an arm and a leg to do it unless I'm really, really good at it.
Sure.
No, okay. You know, so like, you know, we work with you know, some of the big telecom names.
Yeah.
If they all went out of business tomorrow and no one used the internet tomorrow morning, you know, like
we wouldn't get any views on the video.
Yeah,
other than that, we'd be all right.
My beer's still here, but like, we'd be fine.
Sure.
You know, we'd be fine.
Yeah.
So I think the business has like infinite job security and longevity because we're not relying on is social media relevant tomorrow or not.
Sure.
You know, I have no idea. I'm not the expert. But if it's not, we'll do something else.
Yeah.
Will people use the internet tomorrow morning? Probably. But if they don't, that doesn't
do something else.
I'm not out of business tomorrow. I still have a job for the next 100 years because I can satisfy somebody's basic need. And I guess the final thing I like about the business now, and the reason I'm stuck with it, is now I do enjoy it. I actually like this. Like, I would probably consider myself a bit of a workaholic.
Sure.
We were talking the other day. It's rare to one of the two of us.
Right.
To not be working
at least most of the hours of the day.
Right.
Are
and
probably
I
covered
feel
up one of these.
I think most people, especially some of the people watch this, will probably like, dude, you guys are insane.
Sure.
I don't look at it that way. It's not that bad for me. And I've said it like yesterday. I was stuck in the airport for a while, and I did probably 6 hours of work, and I didn't end it being like, man, that was terrible.
Yeah.
It was just it was part of my life. I really do enjoy it. Like the business become my family, and my family's become the business, and it's just kind of intertwined now. It's not. I don't wake up every morning and be like, I gotta go to work.
When you have to shake yourself out of bed.
I wake up and I go to sleep thinking like, how can we have more impact? You know, and that's not nearly as. There's definitely a lot of stress in the business. You know that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But like, there's definitely a lot of stress. It's not the same stress as some boss yelling at me all day long. Like, I actually do like this stuff. So.
That's awesome.
I actually took notes. Because I'm trying to be prepared, unlike this guy over here.
I have no notes.
Doesn't even care about the viewers at home. I care about the people. Landon?
Man of the people.
Probably not so much. Not so much. This is all an act. This is honesty and truth. This is fake.
You get some guy.
This is artificial. We paid this guy to come in here and he's pretty for a reason.
I gotta have something to bring.
He's just the face of the company. He's just the face of the company. That's all it is.
Bring to the table here,
right?
Other than being featured in all the Instagram posts.
Yeah,
I gotta have something of value to have. Not good at my job. Not good at anything else. I gotta have something to provide.
Yeah, I don't think you can find. Like when I was talking about those emails.
Yeah,
I don't think you got any.
Oh man, that's not true. All right, I'll follow up and answer the same question. I do kind of wish I had asked. I don't know how good your thing was going to be, man. That was like legit.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course, man, of course. So I'll kind of take it back a little bit. And I think my start into the business was a little bit different because I think this lined up with more of like exactly what I thought I wanted to do at like 14. Like I was 14, 15 in high school. I took my first marketing class and I was like, I want to do consulting for businesses. Like right out of the gate, which and it's not like most people, so I think it was odd, and kind of like I took that into college and I majored in marketing with a minor in sales, concentration in entrepreneurship. Like it kind of played into this, and I of course, even with the education, I thought that the world that I would be getting into was vastly different than it actually was and played out, at least in the space that we got ourselves into. You know, but I kind of take it back further than that. Like you know, anybody that'll sit still long enough to hear, I tell them I grew up in Nashville, in the great state of Tennessee. You know, yeah, 615, let them know, all the people out there. You know, for me, I knew that if I wanted to have an impact and actually do anything in the space that I wanted to get into, business-wise, I had to skip town. Nashville wasn't as big as it is now. There wasn't as much opportunity when I got out of school. And I got my first sales job working with this guy, and I was sort of ready for somebody just to tell me where to go, and I knew I would have to go somewhere. So one of the things that I always liked about the business is, one, if you're willing to, you know, bounce around a bit, you can move up faster, which is true in a lot of places, and I like to travel. The other thing was, you know, to kind of couple with what you said, is that the fundamental need that it serves. I think I saw that, you know, early on, that would kind of give it some longevity. And, you know, I think the fact that, like, now we've been, you know, in this particular venture, which I think is your next question, which we can get into, we start to spread out a little bit. And I think not having people in the way and having control of something is what I sort of wanted, you know, as we go, or as we went along through the thing. So, I mean, a lot of similarities and also differences with your story in terms of, you know, seeing the longevity in the business. I kind of knew it was more of what I wanted to get into as soon as I walked in the door, essentially. You know, and I think just the chance to move up the ladder fast based on your ability to do something better with more commitment than your peer could get you up faster, which I think is what helped me through to get to, you know, where I am and where we are today. So yeah, I mean, what I enjoy about it now is a lot of the selflessness of helping somebody learn a task from scratch and get good at it, and seeing them excel. I think a lot of it's the relationships too. Like I'm very fortunate that I can go most places in at least the East Coast and have a home with a lot of good people, you know, that we've met through the industry. And I think getting a chance to build something special yourself with good people that you care about is uncommon, especially in a job, so to say.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. It is kind of interesting and neat. Like, I feel the same. I feel like if I go to Boston, that's home.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't feel out of place. Like, oh, I'm in a city I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if I go to Miami, I feel the same way.
Absolutely.
Or DC or New York or wherever. You know, like, we've been in Philly now for what, 9 years?
9, 10 years. Yeah.
I definitely Philly's home right now. You know, for me, I'm not planning on moving anytime soon type of deal from Philly, but I feel like I could relocate to Chicago tomorrow.
It'd be the same
feel like
thing.
I'm out of place.
You have plenty of people, plenty of resources.
Hey, where should I go and grab a beer?
Yeah.
And
You got
where can
people
I go and get things done?
Yeah.
You know, who do I need to talk to get into the business community? We already know all that stuff. I never thought about that, but that is the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right, nice. Okay, guys. So, is there anything else you would like to add to the video?
What else do we want to get into?
I don't know, how long have we been going?
How long have we been going?
How many people didn't click off after the first 10 seconds?
We have a good number of people watching, and we have a couple of comments. Tori Ann, she said, "Hey, you guys, I love these broadcasts. I listen to them on my commute home from my 9 to 5.
Nice.
Keep killing it, guys."
Nice.
Karen said, "Hi, my boys."
That's my sweet mother. I'll call it out. I don't mind.
Biggest advocate for the business.
Oh God, she does more marketing and promotion and, you know, community.
96% of our Facebook followers came
her friends and her promotion.
Right?
So,
And you're
yeah.
like, why should we care? Because this is Landon. That's why you should care.
If you don't have nice things to say about the business, my mother will drive to your house and convince you.
That's a very good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point. if Karen Atkinson did our interviews, everyone would work here.
Yeah. More promotion than we could do.
We'd be the Amazon guy.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have any money. We'd have it all. They'd be like, well, he would have no employees.
You gotta get her on the books one of these points, one of these days.
What are the start of 5 Joe Galanka's on watching right now?
Boom!
Nice. What's up, Joe?
Cool thing with Galanka, it's cool to see him watch him, but you know, it's mid-May, and you know, a lot of kids are graduating college, which, you know, like Lane and I both started really early in our 20s. We hire a lot.
So I was 21.
Yeah, I was 20. I think I was
21,
almost 22.
Yeah.
We hire a lot of younger people.
Sure.
And this is one of our big, you know, like, times to expand the business because we have these guys coming out. I also think like the cool thing with Joe was that, you know, like we're starting our summer interns next week.
Yep. A handful.
And Joe actually started as an intern in college, and now, you know, he runs Boston. You know, that's a pretty cool story.
And how old is Joe?
23,
14.
14.
But he's a young guy.
He's like 23,
I
24, something like that.
think it's a cool start because, you know, a lot of people get internships that equate to nothing.
Right.
I think our internship's awesome. I think the internship is sometimes better than the job.
Yeah, sure.
And I think, you know, like it's a killer resume builder. You know, any sales pitch that we're giving here, I think the internship would be very valuable right now. When people are out there, you know, looking for an internship that are, you know, sophomores, juniors, whatever in college. You know, Joe Galanka would be kind of the success story, you know, a guy that comes in, humping it as an intern.
And even coming in with just the intention to kind of get some experience for the resume. Like I always tell people that when I get asked about the internship, is like, you know, even if you're coming in just to feel things out, worst case scenario, you get into something and you get some cool experience on your resume, maybe find out what you don't like to do.
Sure, right.
Which is also pretty valuable. Best case scenario, you know, you turn the 24-year-old market manager doing.
Right, I don't think there's a lot of 23, 24-year-olds running a city and making the money that he makes now. He could make in the future. You know, I venture to guess that. I mean, I think 98% of the friends that I had that graduated.
No, especially nowadays. Right now, it's very difficult for people in young 20s, mid 20s to find a job where you're going to be like, this is my career. You find your career.
I don't know what the statistic is, but I bet like most 24-year-old, under 25-year-olds are still making 30 grand, 35 grand, something like that. I think somebody comes into our industry. It's not just our business. Like, of course, I'm biased. I love our business. You know, I love what we have going on here. Even if you worked for one of our competitors, though, I think they'd be further along.
Still good opportunity.
Yeah, they'd be further along at 25 than they would be, you know, if they got, even, you know, some of the big companies. If they went and worked at Apple, they're still probably making 50 grand at 25.
Sure.
60 grand maybe. Like, they'd be a lot further along, and they'd have a boss of the boss of the boss of the boss. Joe's running his own thing. I think that's a cool story. I think it's something that's good for our industry, not just our company.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, even if I take the bias out and say we're a bunch of losers.
Sure.
And we're just like everyone else in regards to the industry.
Yeah, who could say, it's like, nowadays, who could say in 25 that they're their own boss? To be sort of.
Have a city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't be running Apple New Jersey. I was probably at 33.
Oh, no.
10 years in.
Not even close.
Probably not.
Joe Biden thinks he has to deal with a lot, but not compared to his peers.
Yeah, good lord.
He has to deal with us.
We rip on don't become an intern and get promoted because we just hate you. Joe received.
It's all jealousy.
Yeah, that's probably
jealousy.
That's probably accurate. I think every generation. Like when I first started, I was like, you guys don't know how easy you have it.
Right.
I did the same thing. I'm like, man, Joe, you're a wuss, man.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I do catch myself now when I'm running a meeting for the guys. I'm like, so back in my day, here's how things work. You don't even know.
We had to walk to school.
We had to go see our customers in the snow, both ways.
Yeah.
We didn't have shoes.
Definitely.
Tori did say that everything I learned about sales and marketing, I learned from these two. I'm truly where I am now because of them.
Wow.
And that's that's
Thank you, Tori. That's very sweet.
When I said like the helping others, that's. I didn't start the business thinking I would get there. I didn't start in the business thinking like that was valuable. I didn't
understand. It was more
selfish
for me when I started. I was like, here's what I can do for myself.
I just wanted money.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
When I started, I was like, okay, like, this is fair.
I don't have
And I can
it,
make
and I can
money.
get some here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you don't realize how little value money has until you get some. You know, it's like, it's like, okay, like, all of a sudden it doesn't become that valuable any longer.
Sure.
And, like, you know, like, somebody like Tori saying, hey, you guys taught me a lot, is, to me at least, that's cooler than the paycheck.
Some of them were interested. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Expensive stuff.
sitting on the phone talking to like $1 million client,
It sort of becomes part of the
decent as a
day-to-day.
job, you know?
Yeah,
It's decent
right,
as a
right,
job.
right, yeah.
But it's a lot cooler, you know, seeing somebody's like, dude, you guys helped me and change my family or something. That's I don't know.
So thanks for the kind words.
Power,
Yeah.
can't put any
A
price
couple
on it.
of other viewers is Diane Sloan and DQ Beats.
Yeah. Daquan in the house.
Why be less when you can be more?
So I got to hang out with those guys. We got an awesome team in Baltimore, and Daquan is one of the top guys in the market there. Mr. Cannon's right hand man out there.
Everyone's saying we'll run the world someday.
And this guy's gonna do a lot of it. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, man. We
Michael
appreciate it.
Dunlap is also
See you
there.
soon. Yeah, what's up, Michael?
Yeah, he's bottom of the totem pole to Karen Atkinson for the chain.
That's my
July 4th is coming up, which
That's my brother.
in our business family, is we go through and rank out who the most favorite people are. And Michael always
This is one of those things where we kind of bring like family into it. Like Tim and I just started working together as boss, employee, manager, salesperson sort of relationship, and now we're fully integrated into each other's families.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something we said for.
You think that helps out a lot in the work field that you
I
guys
think
are
it
in?
makes things easier. I think I'll take this one. I think the stuff that we take on is super challenging. Like I won't try to sell it as it's the easiest job you could ever walk into, right? That there's a reason that there's value behind it, and the clients pay us to do it. It's because it's challenging, they want to do it themselves. And I think having good people along for the ride and at your side makes the tougher times and overcoming obstacles easier to pull off.
Yeah,
it makes it more. You can feel better knowing you got good people on your side.
Yeah, yeah, I think yes if you do it right. I always tell people I would trust Landon with my hypothetical daughter on prom night type of deal, and I really would. I have to trust the guy of my life, and I do feel like it's easier to do that with people that you're really close to,
Sure.
because you have that level of trust. I think it can also be a bad thing though if you don't do it. For those of you guys who are thinking about starting your own business or whatever, if you can't separate that friendship and be unemotional, it's a recipe for disaster.
For sure.
Because I have to be able to go to Landon and vice versa and say, what is wrong with you? And him handle it in a professional aspect, not as friends.
Sure.
I have to be able to be just as tough on him and vice versa as I would be with somebody I don't know.
You have to kind of be able to come with somebody's neck, and then when it makes sense for the business.
Yeah, I think Landon and I have learned that we can yell and scream and fight for the best of the business, and then at 6 o'clock forget that it ever happened and go out and be friends.
Sure.
But I think if you can't do that, don't even try.
Yeah.
It's like family businesses are either terrific or terrible.
Sure.
The good side is if you have trust that you're not going to have. That it's harder to get. You know what I mean?
People you just hire.
Right, with just Joe Schmo.
Sure.
But you also have emotional attachments if you're not that. And I was always told can't have any emotion in the business. No good business decision involves emotion or something. I forget what the saying was. But I think Catalina, to answer your question, in my opinion, is yes, it makes it easier. But if Landon and I, in particular, since we're on the video here, if we weren't diligent when protecting the business from our friendship, it would be a disaster. It would just be an absolute disaster. I got to be able to go to Landon and say, you're screwing up. And if I can't have that conversation with him, we cannot be together.
Hypothetical. It never happens. I never screw anything up.
That's true.
That's
we can't be together.
Yeah.
But I would say the same thing about it. Even somebody I don't know.
Sure.
If I can't go to them as a manager and say, hey, we got to fix this.
Right.
I'm not valuable to the relationship.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I think that's the good and bad of friends / family / whatever in your business, in your workspace.
Yeah.
If you can't separate the emotional aspect of it, it's a recipe for disaster. But if you can, it makes it a lot easier. Like Landon and I don't even have to talk to each other. We're on the same page 95% of the time.
Sure.
Like I don't have to hit him up 45 times and say, "Hey, let's do this," or vice versa. Mm-hmm. It's just like, yeah, we know where each other's going.
We know what we're trying to pull off, so we get it
I don't have to worry like if Landon's doing something whether he's working.
So,
same thing, vice versa.
Besides great teamwork, what other tips do you want to give to anyone that's interested in starting their own business?
This is good. Is this a viewer question or a Catalina question?
Just Catalina question.
All right, we'll take it. Tips on starting your own business. I say do your homework. A lot of people get into business and they don't know what they're up against and what they're competing against. So I would say that, when I say do your homework, I mean figure out what it's actually going to take to pull off what you want to pull off financially, in terms of capital that you need or don't need, people that you need to bring on board, what you need to kind of put together structurally. The other part of doing your homework is knowing your competition. The thing about this business, GraySquare that we have now is that, Tim and I have done our homework over the course of, 9 years working for competitors of the space, or in our space. So I know our competitors better than a lot of them know themselves because I was on the inside, and I think it's crucial for starting a business and doing it the right ways. You got to know what you're getting yourself into, and you have to know your competition, their strengths, weaknesses, everything about them. We try to infiltrate as much as possible because I want to know everything. Absolutely, yeah. We'll leave them out. Our sources, as media would call them. No, that's the, I could offer 100, but I think that's the biggest one of things you do before you start a business.
Yeah, I agree.
Due diligence.
I think a lot of people just don't do their homework. I think a lot of people are just like, it'd be fun being my own boss, but they don't know what that entails.
Sure.
And they don't know how to be competitive in the space that they're trying to get into. The fact of the matter is, there's a million people that know how to make food, but that doesn't mean everyone's going to be a successful restaurant.
Right.
Same thing, I think there's a million people that have failed running a restaurant that are probably the best cooks in the world, so to say. They may make delicious food, but they have no idea what they're doing in regards to how to market, how to promote their business,
structuring finances,
everything.
Yeah.
I guess the thing, like, Landon's definitely more technical than I am in this stuff, because I modern European history, Landon's got business. So I agree with Landon.
Both sides of the coin.
Me personally, I'm more the work ethics that I think it takes. Like, for me, if I was starting my own business, I always tell people when they ask me personally, I'm like, I wouldn't wish my job on anybody, but I would wish it on anyone. That doesn't make any sense. I get it, but like, I'm a maniac, and like when people come to me like, well, how do you do what you do? I almost don't want to tell them because I feel like it's going to freak them out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know how I would do it any other way.
Right.
Like, so for me, I think if you want to start your own business, the only reason to start your own business is if you want to do something big.
Yeah.
Because like, if you just want to be your own boss, you can do that pretty easily, but it's not going to last very long unless you have the capital to actually sustain it.
Right.
So for me, like, if you're not willing to like work your butt off, I don't care how much homework you do.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. I mean,
Sure.
like, I remember my first year. I didn't sleep. It was like I was up at 6 a.m. and I would go to bed at 1 a.m. 7 days a week. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Right.
But like, I also I get to do pretty cool stuff.
Sure.
And I think there's people that are like, man, that's a really cool lifestyle. But there's always a flip side to it. So like, I think you definitely have to have the work ethic if you want to start your own business. And like,
You gotta
think that,
no, go ahead.
if you think like 40 hours a week is going to cut it, like, no, you're going to get the same thing as everyone else if you do the same thing as everyone else.
Yeah.
Same thing, like, I think you have to have like a laser-focused attitude. When things are going wrong, you still have to be optimistic. Like, we used to say, like, stupid optimism.
Sure.
You have to be like crazy when things are going bad, that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So I think like Landon's saying the more, I guess, the granular thing you can hang on to.
Sure.
For me, it's more like the habits. To me, the habits are, you know, an insane work ethic. You have to have longevity. If you like, you have to be able to get punched in the face 100 times and come back for number 101.
Sure.
And if somebody tells you, oh, well, you're going to get punched in the face 100 times and get there, and you get punched in the face 200 times, if you're not ready to go even further, you're never going to make it business-wise. You're just never going to make it. You're just never going to make it. Same thing like attitude-wise. Can you separate personal from professional and things like that? You know, like if something bad's happening in your personal life, can you kind of turn it off to stay focused on the business when things aren't there? You know, like, if I got problems at home right now, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You know, so like I think most people let that ruin their business. You know, it's like, oh, the world's ending in my personal life. They can't do anything about it right now. Stay focused on the business while you can. Handle the stuff that you can at home. Same thing. You know, like you got things going in your business and you take it home to your family. You're a jerk.
You lose there too.
Yeah, you're just a jerk.
Yeah.
Like it's not like so yeah. I think Landon's right on the technical side. I'd say if somebody's trying to start their business, though, be prepared to go to war every day. You know, be prepared to fight for your business. You know, like if you're looking like, oh, well, I'm my own boss now, so if I don't want to work on Sunday, I don't have to work on Sunday. You're right. But if you don't work those Sundays, you're not going to have very many of them that you can take off. You know, like if you get lazy in your business, you're only going to be able to be lazy for a period of time. If you stay diligent, you're going to one day have infinite laziness, so to say. You know, I remember, I forget who it was, but somebody was like, you know, my goal is to become lazy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think everyone's goal is to become lazy. My goal is like, I'd much rather be traveling the world than working.
Yeah.
You know, but like I also know that I won't get to travel the world for very long if I don't have a successful business life, which comes with the work ethic element of it. So yeah, like my advice to somebody starting their own business would be like, if you're not in, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. You really gotta be in. You gotta be willing to do what it takes.
Mark Cuban said you gotta work. You gotta work every day like somebody else is working 24/7 to take it away from you.
Yeah. I mean, like I know there's gonna be some other crazy person like myself out there that's younger than I am, and there's somebody else out there that's smarter than I am.
Sure.
I gotta outwork them to get there. I'm gonna do it because I don't think it's much of a talent game. I don't think I'm very smart. You know, like comparable to the next guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm anything special. I do know I'll like tomorrow morning I'll be working.
I'm up earlier. I'm staying up later.
Yeah. But the same thing after that, they don't party hard, so to say.
Sure.
And they don't go and run around and do whatever. I think you gotta be willing to go both ways. And especially at the beginning, you gotta be willing to put the work in. If you're looking to like go to Australia for a month next year and you're trying to start a business this year,
you're already out.
You're already done.
You're already out of business.
You're never gonna make it.
I mean, there is a quote saying that your biggest competition is the person you were yesterday. So you always have to be a one-up from what you did yesterday.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's so easy to do average. And when you're trying to be your own boss, average just doesn't. It's not like if you work your butt off, you're going to be highly successful as an entrepreneur. If you don't work at all, you're going to be dramatically unsuccessful in any job in the world.
Sure.
If you do middle class, if you do average work in like corporate America, you're going to be okay. If you do average work as an entrepreneur, you're not going to be okay.
Sure.
You are out.
You're
There's 100% or zero as an entrepreneur.
Right.
Like that's it. You're either 100% in or you're 100% out. Like whereas in like normal life, if I work for Joe Schmo, I can work pretty hard and keep my job and keep my income. If you're an entrepreneur and you work pretty hard,
you're out.
You're out. You know, so I think that's what you gotta be prepared for. Like if I were opening my own T-shirt brand, I would. You're either 100% or you're zero. You're just done. You know, so that's what I would say. Starting your own business wise, you gotta be in. You just gotta be in.
And especially as the thing.
Whatever that means, whatever that looks like.
And it definitely changes in time. Like it goes from, it's pretty interesting to go from like, you know, the ownership side. Like you go from, you know, getting into it to work your way up and do all these things. And you kind of alluded to it earlier, is that when you get other people involved, you know, it's awesome because you get to build relationships, you get to see other people grow. But at the end of the day, those people are putting their trust in their, you know, career, their financial
Families.
situations, their families in your hands. There's some pressure with that, but if you love the work and you're excited about the work and you care about the people involved, it gives you that extra kick when you need it to keep things moving.
And that scares me at times. You know, that I have that much pressure. But it doesn't, because I also know that, like, I'm cool on the work ethic side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Whoever
worried
else they
about
go work for out
Yeah, no
there,
matter
they're not
how-
gonna outwork you.
Yeah, no matter how stupid I am, and no matter how bad my decisions may be, I can keep coming back, so I'm just gonna keep working. So I don't really worry about it that much. Like, I feel like if I didn't have the work ethic, I'll be horrified.
Sweating like
I'd be horrified. I'd be like, man, these guys, I'm hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hurting them, and they don't even know it. Now, I would be terrified of that, you know. But I'm not that.
Yeah.
It doesn't keep me up at night. I don't go to bed thinking like, man, like these guys are so stupid for being around me. I'm like, man, like I think I'm like, man, like I want to help these guys. Like that one day they're gonna send me the email.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm.
All right, guys. Yeah. So this is a good one.
Yeah. Good.
Do we get to 2 million views?
Just say yes.
Yes, definitely 2 million
Well
views.
over.
Yes, a lot. Yeah, a lot more than that. All right, guys. So would you like to say anything to end the video?
I'm out of
Anything
views.
to our viewers?
I think here's how we time the videos, right? So the grab a beer with GraySquare video lasts as long as the beer lasts. When we finish the beer, you're done grabbing your beer with GraySquare. So episode 2, we can wrap it up.
All right, perfect. So until next time,
Thanks.
bye.